I understand that what I eat in a day videos can be very helpful, so here's another one. Here we've got the first meal of the day. We've got raw ground beef and avocado. Of course, when it comes to the avocado or bone marrow or beef fat, it's just a fat source, alright? When you consume protein, you want a fat source. Don't have any beef fat, so I'm gonna substitute it with avocado. Now, of course, I'm eating the meat raw because there's no reason whatsoever to eat cooked meat. You can just eat raw meat and it will be more beneficial because it contains more nutrients, it contains enzymes, it contains all of the beneficial bacteria that you need, and again, all the nutrients are intact. And of course, you can't leave out the raw fermented milk. This milk was like over here, then I drank a bunch, and now I'm gonna consume this with the meal. And yeah, that's basically the first meal. So another thing when it comes to fat sources is that it's good to mix them up. If you look at the remedies that Agenus Wonderplanets used to mention, he always mixed up the fat depending on the situation. So sometimes he used coconut cream, sometimes he used avocado, sometimes he said bone marrow, sometimes he even said beef fat, sometimes he said butter. So they all have their different properties, they all have their different ratios, and mixing it up can be a very good idea, actually. People seem to think that this food isn't delicious. Like, trust me, when it comes to the milk, which isn't in the frame, when it comes to the milk, if I knew that I was going to get everything that I need, like if a genie came and he said you get 3 wishes, but you can only eat one food for the rest of your life, I would pick milk. Raw fermented milk. I mean, it's so delicious. It is so incredibly delicious that, you know, I have memories of many of the things that I used to eat during my childhood. You know, the Swedish mud cake, which was my favorite, carrot cake, a bunch of sweet things. I used to eat a lot of sweet things. And this is better than all of them. Yes, now my body's very used to these kinds of things. But still, I can still remember the taste of those other things, and they don't even compare to this. Of course, it's because of the bacteria and, you know, the biological programming, but still. I haven't talked about the TikTok people. You see, the audience on YouTube is very mild compared to them. On TikTok, you just get comments on, you know, oh, well, you're gonna die, blah, 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 blah. On YouTube, everyone is more questioning. Yes, in the shorts, you've got a bunch of people who are idiots. But still. Or I shouldn't say idiots. We don't know about their life situation. Very easy to judge people. They might have had experiences with raw meat that have made them traumatized. So we don't know. And then they see me and then they become very judgmental. By the way, like, would you like to see an ASMR of me just mentioning a bunch of health hacks or health tips or whatever it might be? Or maybe just eating a meal and whispering. I'm not gonna do it now because it sounds ridiculous. But if there are enough people who actually want something like that, then I can make a video, of course. I mean, if I can help people fall asleep, why not do that? Since this is YouTube, we also need a shot of me drinking this, because that's just how it works. Like, it is so incredibly good. Like, I shit you not, the period when I don't have any milk, or I do have milk, but it needs to ferment, and that's like 48 hours, 36 hours, something like that. That period is painful. And then when the milk finally ferments, I mean, the joy is unreal. And it happened to me yesterday. I just drank this stuff, and like, I don't know what to say. I just felt euphoric. And again, I think the reason why people like raw milk so much, especially raw fermented milk, or at least me, it's because of the insane content of bacteria. Again, bacteria is addictive, and that's a good thing. I mean, bacteria help you with a lot of bodily functions. So, the more you can supply your body with bacteria, the better. Because remember, when the bacteria is trying to help you with something pollution related, a lot of them die. And that's why you need to keep supplying bacteria. It just makes your body happier. And I mean, literally, in every single way. You get bacteria, oh, your body's happier because it needs to expend less energy because it's got microorganisms working for it. And it also, because of you giving it bacteria, it's going to reward you with endorphins. So, if you're new here, there's a very important concept that I need you to know. And that is that don't give a shit about when you eat, okay? That's not very important. If your body gives you hunger signals, that means it wants to be supplied with food, okay? That's the only good thing to go after. Okay, I'm hungry, I should eat. I'm hungry, I should eat. Because your body is better at making decisions than you are. It knows when it needs food. It only tells you, sort of, when you need food, okay? You're aware of the sensations. Ultimately, the sensations are aware of themselves, if we want to go the Buddhist route. But you're aware of the sensations that your body is giving you. You're not the body itself, okay? And that's very easy to understand, because if you talk to someone about being a celebrity for a day, you'll think about switching bodies, right? That's a very easy thing for you to imagine. So if you can switch bodies and you can still retain your sense of self, well then your sense of self isn't really related to your body, is it? And that's an easy way of getting out of, being identified with the body. Okay, if I switch bodies, okay, well, if I can do that, then I have nothing to do with my body, right? So again, you're just trying to see what the body needs. You're not the body itself. Don't mix those two up. Just listen to it. Don't think that you are it. Because you think that you are it if you think you can make better decisions than it makes. Now, the thing about fermented milk is that it's very hard to blend, right? Because it's very chunky, okay? And this top layer right here is going to be fat. And since it's hard to blend, you can't really blend this fat layer into the milk unless you blend it with a blender, or you sit there for a very long time and you mix it. But obviously I'm not going to waste any time doing that because it's completely unnecessary. I'm still gonna get all the nutrition that I need if I just consume it. Doesn't matter if I blend it or not. Off camera I drank a glass of milk, but since I just started using milk from this container, I got the fat layer. And so I basically drank raw fermented cream, which is absolutely amazing for all purposes. I mean, it's literally one of the best fat sources out there. It's very easily digested, it has a bunch of bacteria, and it's extremely nutrient dense. And again, some of you might not have access to raw milk, and to that I would say call farms. That's what you do. You just call farms. It's like business. Call farms, see who will sell you raw milk, and then once you've got one single farm, you only need one farm, you've got access to as much of this as you want. Okay, so now, many hours later, I'm gonna have an orange, not with avocado, because I want to save this for the, for the meat meal that I'm gonna have in 2 hours, something like that. But this is basically for vitamin C, hydration, for things you usually don't get from animal products, which could be beneficial. I should also add that I have a really easy time losing weight. And ketosis, which you will be in if you just eat animal products, is a catabolic state. So this puts me in an anabolic state. When you mix fat and carbs, you're generally gonna be in an anabolic state. Lastly, always consume fruit with fat, because otherwise you'll spike your blood sugar. The fat helps prevent the blood sugar spike, and you'll get more energy over a longer period of time. So you know how people talk about refined carbs and complex carbs? If you eat refined carbs with fat, you'll basically get the complex carb type of stuff, because it's gonna be harder to digest. Okay, it's not gonna be harder to digest, it's just going to be slower, basically. And again, I'm gonna have milk as my fat source, since the top of the milk contains a bunch of cream, so I can use this. If it was, the bottom of the milk, or if that layer was gone, then I wouldn't use milk as a fat source, because again, then it's skim milk. When you ferment it and you've consumed the top part, then the rest is just skim milk. But since it's the top part, we can use this. So here's the second meat meal. This is fairly close to my bedtime, but it doesn't really matter because this is raw food and it is very easily handled by the body when it comes to all aspects really, like digestion and, you know, from a byproducts perspective. So when you eat this and you go to sleep, you're not really stressing your body out. You're just supplying it with nutrition that it can use throughout the night. I'm gonna add this avocado to this meat, and I have a glass of raw fermented milk upstairs. This is how it looks. No preparation time whatsoever. 2 ingredients. Super healthy. Super simple. I mean, we're so lucky. The absolute most time efficient and delicious diet is also the healthiest. This is the next day. Of course, I drank a glass of milk with that meal, but then I drank another glass of milk, and that's everything I consumed yesterday. Now, the reason I didn't film the last meal and the reason I don't do many of these videos is because filming yourself while eating is very annoying. You know, I really like this food. I love eating. I absolutely love eating. Anyone who is on this diet will love eating, okay? Because after you eat, you feel so good. You feel so good in general, okay? So the sensations in your mouth, you know, you've got such good concentration because your brain is so powerful because of all the nutrients that you can really hone in on the experience of eating. And of course, the food is delicious. I know that these kinds of videos can be very helpful, and that's why I'm gonna try to record more of them. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I mean, the last video did really well, and with that said, go and achieve excellent health. I know you can do it.